Hello, what is going on, everyone? Today we're doing the Telltale adaptation series for The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 9, which is titled Cherish the Little Moments. Okay, this episode begins, this is of course the start of the next half of Season 4. Episode begins showing Jane right after she left the group in Episode 6. She goes off on her own as music plays. She's walking down the snowy roads, killing a few walkers by kicking their legs and then stabbing them in the head. She finds a small shack like a house near in the woods, and she sits inside of it eating canned beans. She spends more time crying, and she even sets up a noose with a rope she finds, and she ties it up to the ceiling fan, gets ready to hang herself. But right before she's about to do it, she hears an explosion. She then hears a few gunshots, and she sees this man in the road as she goes to run to it, and she takes a shot at this man and kills him. And obviously that's what happened at the end of episode 8. Basically we're back to present now. Everyone gets out of the truck bruised up, quite exhausted, but they are all okay. Thankfully they all had seatbelts on, and Sarah held AJ real close, so they're all okay. Luke hugs Jane, asking where the hell she's been and why she left, and Jane says she doesn't know. She asks where everyone else is as Nick explains what happened. She gets terribly nervous after she hears that Dave was shot. Kenny takes the guy's gas mask off and takes a good look at who the person was, and it just looks like an average guy. They can't really tell who he was, or they don't know him or anything like that. Lily says they gotta keep moving, as Kenny says to where? Everywhere we go, we are attacked by these fucks. Kenny says no matter what we do, we can't make it. He gets noticeably angry, but AJ starts crying a little bit, and that makes Kenny stop. Lily says they'll find a vehicle. They can make it. The group grab all their belongings and start moving on down the road. Eventually, they reach a bar on the road. There's a ton of walkers further down the road, so they decide that they should probably just go through the woods, but Lily, Luke, Nick, and Omid clear out the bar first to see if there's anything useful inside. There's only one walker inside. Omid kills it with his machete. Lily and Omid talk about Kenny's stability, because Omid, of course, knows that Lily was with Kenny before he even found Kenny in Season 1, and so he was kind of asking her about that whole situation and what was happening, and Lily just says that he's never been like in a good state of mind ever since Katja and Duck, and then now with Sarita. And when she says it, she hesitates because, of course, she remembers that she was the one who killed Sarita. It keeps going through her mind. She can't get it out of her head that she was the one to kill Sarita. It's killing her. It's literally killing her. But she, of course, can't tell anyone, so she just plays it off, saying, I think Kenny will be okay in no time. He has to get better eventually, especially maybe when they reach Wellington and get to better stability, like a real home maybe. But they kind of stop their conversation as they continue to check out the bar. Nick finds a bottle of wine unopened, and he takes it along with the bottle opener. The group then continue through the woods. We then cut over to the other group, which was of course the group in the helicopters headed towards the carrier ship. The helicopters reach the carrier ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Trip and Dave are quickly transported to the medical facility. Sandy, Vince, and Shell go along with them. Aaron, Kyle, and Roman hang out around the top of the carrier ship as a man named Lieutenant Daniels shows them around. Another helicopter lands on the ship as well, bringing in 3 new people, an older couple in their late 50s and a man who's maybe 30 years old, roughly. Aaron asks about who those people are, as Daniel says they are bringing in new people every day, to be honest, on board pretty often. They're always getting stripped of any weapons before getting on, so don't worry about any terrorists or anything. Daniel says they usually are brought here before interviewing and such before being transported to the communities themselves. It's usually done at any outpost, to be fair, not just this one, just whichever one's closer. In the medical facility, Sandy, Vince, and Shell watch Trip and Dave being worked on in critical condition. That night, of course it turns nighttime now, we cut back over to Clem's group, and the group finds a little power plant down through the woods as they head in the direction of Wellington. Jordan struggled all the way there, of course, but he made it with the help of Bonnie and Marla. Bonnie says they should rest the night here as the group get warm near a fire that they make. It's getting cold out again. Kenny tells Sarah to get some rest as he takes AJ from her and comforts him. Kenny says he'll stay on watch as he walks around. Sarah uses the only blanket there to sleep, the one that Bonnie had in her backpack. Jane walks away from the fire as well, goes to walk around. She just doesn't want to be around everyone else, I guess. So you got Luke, Nick, Bonnie, Jordan, Clem, Marla, Omid, and Lily all sitting near the fire. Nick pulls out that bottle of wine from his bag and says that he got this from that bar and that he was saving it for a time like this. He thought they could all use some. He opens it up as they pass it around. Luke says he thinks it's his birthday today. At least it feels like it. As long as the Retribution were telling the truth about it being Christmas, then yeah, today's his birthday. It was always the day after Christmas. Bonnie tells him to make a toast, but he doesn't want to at first, but he does. Bonnie calls to Jane saying there's plenty of room by the fire over here if she'd like, and Jane says she's okay. Bonnie questions what's up with her. Clem says she just wants to be alone. Her sister Molly told her that they were always to themselves, very independent people. Jordan asks why she came back though. Clem says, I think it was for you, as she looks to Luke. Luke blushes as he says, I doubt it. Nick says he thinks she's right on that. The bottle comes around to Clem. The others say she doesn't have to, but Clem says screw it as she decides to take a sip. Kenny sees it, and he doesn't look happy. Clem coughs from the strong taste. Bonnie then says they don't need to be so far away from the fire. They can keep watch close. Clem says she'll talk to them. She goes over to Kenny first. Kenny says he doesn't want her drinking. Clem says it was just a sip, and Kenny says you're too young for any sip. Kenny tells her that he was never good with alcohol. He drank it a lot back then with Katja and Duck. They'd get into a fight over it, and he'd storm out of the house to go drink some more on his boat. Kenny says he'd do anything to be with them for one more moment. He tells her with Sarita it was different. He felt stronger. Clem tells him that he should go back by the fire. AJ needs the warmth, and Kenny says all right, as he does, mainly because of AJ should probably be warm. That's his thought process there. Clem then goes over to Jane next. He asks her how she's doing. Jane says she's fine. Clem asks her if she'd like a drink of wine. They have some over there. Jane says she's okay. And Clem is about to completely give up talking to her. Remember, she isn't as close to Jane as she was in the game, right? In this adaptation series, they barely talked. So Clem's not very close, so she's just like, whatever, I'm gonna walk away. But then Clem sees her bracelet, and it says Myrtle Beach on it. And Clem decides to ask what that is, and Jane tells her it's the spot her and her family went every summer. Clem asks what's it like, and kind of sparking some conversation as Jane tells her about all the theme parks, beaches, amazing restaurants at this place. Greatest place on earth. Jane tells Clem that she hated school. She always got picked on. So the summer was her time to shine. She could just hang out with Molly and do whatever the hell they wanted. She smiles for the first time in a while just thinking about those memories. Jane then looks over at Luke as she says screw it. She walks over back to the fire with Clem. Now the group is all sitting around the fire as Luke is talking about what age he is. He says 27. He would have been out of college by now. He says he majored in art history, and Kenny says it sounded like he majored in working in a coffee shop, and the group all have a nice laugh. Luke says also a minor in agriculture, so just to keep them happy. And they all just sit around, have a nice laugh, and Luke says, we don't get this often. The group then rest for the night. Then we go back to the trucks that are transporting Arvo, of course. The Retribution members that took off in their trucks at the end of episode 8. So there's roughly 12 Retribution inside of both of these trucks, and they are forced to stop in the road as they come across 4 other trucks of New Frontier members, and they even have a New Frontier flag held up out of their car. This ain't the Russians, this is the New Frontier. The Retribution come out with their weapons up, and they tell them to drop their weapons now. The leader of the New Frontier, his name is Victor, walks out. He tells them that they have destroyed the southern outpost, and they'll continue to destroy more if they don't surrender. The Retribution guys don't really know what to do here. These are kind of some of the Retribution members that are a little bit they're not very skilled, most of these guys, right? You got some of them back at the outpost that are skilled, but the ones that are here are not the most skilled in the world. Victor tells them that he'd rather they drop their weapons, and they will let them go. The New Frontier clearly outnumber Retribution in this encounter. Victor lowers his hand, which kind of signals the snipers to shoot at the Retribution from the woods. So you got New Frontier snipers in the woods, and when he lowers his hand, that signals the shot pretty much, and they all start shooting at the Retribution, killing pretty much all of them. The group then check inside of the truck, find Arvo inside, but they also find another guy inside who starts shooting back because there was a dude that was watching Arvo, but they shoot the dude up, and they get Arvo out. They untie him, and Victor asks what the hell happened to him. Arvo says he's with Rais, and he says, yeah, I can tell that dipshit. Arvo says he needs help getting back to them, And Victor laughs and says that I don't work for Rais. He works for me. Victor tells Arvo to find his own way back as the group get back in their vehicles and drive off. Arvo is now free as he starts running down the snowy roads back the way he came. Back at the carrier ship, it's the next day now. We got Sandy, Vince, and Shell resting in the medical waiting room. Aaron, Kyle, and Roman wake up in beds down in the soldiers' quarters, and they go outside to a nice, sunny day. Nice, happy music plays as the group at the power plant wake up as well. They hear birds chirping. It's actually sunny, kind of warm out. Much different than the past couple days that have been like freezing. It's not that warm, but it's warmer than usual. You see some of the snow melting away. Clem is just really happy to see it. The music then becomes more darker and sinister as we see the Russian lake house. Arvo returns to it. There's roughly 30 Russians there. Rice looks pissed off because he knows that the groups he sent out likely didn't make it. Arvo returns as he says he wants to see his sister Natasha, but the Russians throw him into Rais's office. He asks why the fuck he's the only one of them who survived. Arvo says he tried. They all tried. Rais tells his men to get Arvo out of here. Rais also tells his men to leave the office as he opens up a cabinet which reveals 2 katana swords hanging up, making an X. He pulls them out, holds them up close as he closes his eyes and breathes in deeply, and the episode ends there. So, boom. I needed this episode to be more set up than anything, and that's why there wasn't any crazy action in it. It was very tame, dialogue heavy, nothing crazy happening, because that's just what this episode needs to be. I can't rush into it, especially because I need some of these character bonding moments to affect future episodes, which they will, and that's kind of what this episode was all about. A lot of setup, of course, but if I want to tell you guys an episode in particular I'm really looking forward to, that's going to be episode 11. When we get to that, you'll know why that's an episode I'm really looking forward to. Like, I cannot wait to show you guys what I've done with episode 11. But of course, we got to get to episode 10 as well, and then we'll go on, and eventually we'll finish the season. Hopefully we'll finish the season by, like, I'm going to try my best to finish it before, like, June, like, 15th, like, a month from now. I'm going to try to finish the rest of the season within the next month. I want to get it out to you guys as soon as possible, but, you know, of course, there's things holding me back, but I'll try my best. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.